Oh, damn. It's the worst way to start it.
It's just perfect timing, isn't it?
Hello, this is Andy Black. That was my belch. Now, my announcing that ensures that this will make it into the video. I will give no other ways of announcing myself, so there's no way to cut around it. I just belched. This is my early years. The first gig I ever played, it's a little bit difficult to think of what the first gig was in terms of real gig, because there was like talent show scenarios where there was like pretend band. But the first actual show that I played was at a art gallery / definitely front for a drug selling ring in the north side of Cincinnati. We played with like 37 other bands. It was like a punk show. And Biersack, which was the first iteration of Black Veil Brides, played. And at the time, we were playing just a handful of covers. I think we played some Alkaline Trio songs, Misfits songs, and it was a very early iteration. And in fact, the drummer of that band was my dad's drummer from his band. So he was, I would estimate, 28 to 30 years older than us, if not more. He was a very nice guy named Frank, wonderful person, really appreciate him doing it. In fact, he did it for a couple of those kind of basement show scenarios. But it made for some funny pictures. My hair was about 30 feet tall, and I remember like white batting gloves and like a button-up shirt with a bow tie. I looked like if Stephen Piercy was your butler. That was kind of, I guess, the look that I had going. First band practice, I remember, you have to understand that a big part of my childhood was spent trying to convince other people to be in a band with me. If I knew that someone even had a guitar at their house, I would suggest that they be in a band with me. So there were many early band practices that were essentially a bunch of people who didn't know how to play an instrument, just sort of sitting in a garage for a couple hours until ultimately everybody left. But I remember, by the time I finally had like a band of people that were playing, we would play in my garage. And one of those times I remember writing a song, which was essentially, I was on drums for some reason and singing, and there was like a guitar riff, and it was just the most derivative of like a doo-wop song, Misfits-y doo-wop song, and it was called like Dead Girlfriend or something. It was about a zombie girl, very Misfits-y, directly ripped off of the Misfits. And there was no changes in the song. It was one riff and one drum pattern and essentially one melody for the entirety until it just ended. And I remember I played it for my dad, and he was not impressed. And I thought, well, maybe I should try harder on this. Turns out I don't have the magic touch of just the first song I ever wrote was the greatest thing ever. But that was actually really good because it made me think harder about my interest in songwriting and wanting to really improve my chops and to be able to write something that was listenable at the end of the day. I thought you were going to say, who are your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Well, you can answer that as well.
Who are
your favorite?
Do you want me to fan cast the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I want you to order them. Let's go from bottom to top.
Raphael is number one. He's the red one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Shredder.
Leonardo's in there.
Leonardo, DiCaprio, Da Vinci, Blueberry, Shrek,
Yeah.
And
He's my favorite.
Kermit the Frog.
Nice. A good mix.
Top Ninja Turtles.
And who were your teenage musical heroes, and have you had a chance to meet any of them?
I've been very fortunate in that a lot of the bands that were my favorite bands or artists I've had an opportunity to meet, and most of them have been, really the overwhelming majority of them have been fantastic. The one that I could cite directly is, obviously, my favorite band of all time is Alkaline Trio, and I've had the opportunity to work with Matt a handful of times and write with him and sing with him, and he's just been absolutely wonderful. So that was a very cool experience. I got to write a song that has not yet been heard by anybody, but a song that we wrote last year that I really like, and hopefully winds up seeing the light of day at some point. And then obviously he sang on Stay Alive on my first solo record. So just the coolest thing for me. I'm still just a diehard dedicated fan. I listen to them more than any other band. And in fact, just yesterday when landing, first thing I do, open up Spotify, turn on the B-sides. The Remains record was all B-side stuff.
That track you wrote with Matt, is that for yourself? Is that for?
Yeah, we were just in the studio together with Feldy, and we wrote something that I think is pretty cool. It's not finished yet, but I think it'll be great.